Hey everyone. Through the years, I'll hear some parents, making comments about their daughter's routines, questions like, "Oh, I have no idea why she's getting the scores she's getting. What was wrong with that routine?" I even have parents, they're like, "Well, I've been doing this for, 5, 6 years, and I still have no idea why the girls get the scores they get." And my response to that is, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you. Uh, Unless you're not laughing, then I'm technically laughing at you. But anyways, so I just figured I'd throw this video together and just give you guys kind of a basic rundown, like a little turbo course on gymnastic scoring. So hopefully as you're watching these, you can start recognizing when your daughter's improving, things that are going well. When you see different routines, you can differentiate and say, oh, okay, that one looks a little cleaner, that one not so much. Because there's some things that can be a little deceiving when it comes to scoring. That being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a few different events, a few different scoring things. I may take this in part, so if you see me wearing different articles of clothing or in different positions as it cuts in and out, no, I'm not changing wardrobe for dramatic effect. I'm just being time efficient here. So here we go. Right off the bat, first thing to realize, gymnasts have to have routines, each one of the events, and then assuming they do all of the requirements. Each event has a certain amount of special requirements for that event. And some requirements are just do something of this sort. Some may be a specific skill. They have to meet those special requirements. As long as they do all of those special requirements, their score starts at a 10-0 start value. An example of that would be the bronze on bars. They go up on a bars, they have to do a mount, they have to do a circling element, they have to do a cast, and they have to do a dismount. As long as they do all of those things, their score comes from a 10. If they forget one of those things or miss one of those things, that's an automatic half a point off their score. Now that's the general high deduction, or what you call a large fault would be a half a point. If they fall on beam, that's a half point deduction. Or if they fall on anything, it's going to be a half point deduction. While they put their hand down on the floor, that's going to be considered a fall. Coach spotting them, half a point deduction. What can happen, however, is on beam, say they go for a skill and like a cartwheel or walkover or even a handstand and they don't even get 1 foot on it, they don't even get credit for attempting the skill. So they'll get hit half a point for a fall and half a point for missing an element or a requirement. So in that cases, it can be a full point swing. So anyways, those are the big deductions. As long as you do all the requirements though, your score starts at a 10. And then the judge watches a routine and they just start picking off tenths everywhere. Just little things that go wrong. Standard deductions, keep an eye out for. It's going to be elbows, it's going to be knees, and it's going to be feet. Their toes pointed or are they flexed and pulled up. So they can get up to 2 to 3 tenths on each one of those. 2 legs, 2 knees, 2/10 bend on each knee. That's 4 tenths before you realize it. And usually their knees are bent, their toes are hooked too. So something as small as just doing a pullover, bending their knees and hooking their toes, before you know it, they can be, 6 tenths deep in deductions just coming right off their score. Told you I'd make a wardrobe change for dramatic effect. Back on another day. So I was just talking about the deductions with their legs. But the deductions aren't only applied to their legs. Their body is supposed to be in correct body position for certain skills too. Again, on bars, when they're doing their skills. I got my demonstrator right here, Dolly. It's been around for years. So what we need them to be in is a good hollow position with the legs straight, upper body, kind of ribs tucked in, body here. When they're doing their casts, their body should be up in this position, this nice, good hollow position. If their body deviates from that position, if they do things like kind of stick their butt up, arching the lower back there, if they pike, a lot of times with casting on bars, what they want to do to get some height is they'll drive their heels, which will create a big arch. They'll take deductions for that too. General rule of thumb is a slight deviation from the body position, leg position, or arm position that's supposed to be correct. Arm position would be elbows. When they're tumbling, long, strong, straight arms, or if they're doing this, some of the kids doing back handsprings, they look like Kermit the Frog. And why are there so many songs about rainbows and what's on the, so we got to get rid of those. And they say, if it's a slight bend, it could be a tenth. A bigger bend, 2/10. If it's huge bends, now you're looking at 3/10. So deviations from those correct body positions, from when they're supposed to be hollow, being in an arch or being in a pike position. Now sometimes they're allowed to do the pike, like if they're doing a pull over on the bars, they're going to pike their legs up and over. But when they're doing their back hip circle around the bars, body should stay hollow all the way around. When they're tumbling, doing skills like flips, there is such thing as a backward flip in a tuck position, in a pike position, or in a layout, which will be a straight to hollow position. You'll also see this come up a lot on vault. They do their handstand flat back, they should be straight. Maybe a little hollow, definitely not arched, definitely not piked. Landing positions is another big spot for deductions. Whether or not the gymnasts are taking steps on their landings. If they're landing both feet, boom, they can absorb the landing, bend their knees to absorb and control. But if they take a step, small step, that's a 10th. Big step, they can start taking more. One of the big things we tell the gymnast too is to remember that if they land 1 foot, come back, that's a single step. If they go 1 foot and then bring the back foot forward, they just took 2 steps on that deduction. So the judges want to see the girls landing, sticking that landing nice and solid and strong, so they're not losing tenths. Now, after 3 steps, it's just considered a fall. They stop, a girl's fumbling and can't get her feet underneath her, and then like runs into the garbage can and then eats in the chalk bucket. The judge isn't like, oh, and then you tripped on that, and then you knocked over that water button. No, they stop after 3 and just consider it a fall. And that's the last impression you leave with the judge. So you want to see a good, solid landing at the end of the dismount. Now, in the area of body position, things that need to happen is like tumbling on floor and beam, some basic acro skills, which is a word we'll use. Acro skills are the basic gymnastic skills. Dance will be leaps and turns. Acro will be handstands, tumbling, things like that. The judges want to see the girls in a good lever position. If you think Dolly's got too many joints to really control well, think about the girl getting in her lunge, her knees, front knees bent, and her back leg is up. What's going to happen is she kicks up. They want to see the gymnast hit a straight kind of T position. So if you ever hear us telling the girls, lever, or want to see good body lines, that's what we're talking about, is getting our body into the right straight position as they do this. Now, a lot of the girls getting here could be pretty easy, but what happens is their hands continue to go down, is their back foot doesn't. I tell my kids, pretend you have a string from your finger to your heel, and as that goes down, the other one will come up. And that should continue, and their hands hit the ground. Their body should still be in that straight body line position. More than not, though, what will happen is you get here, and suddenly the arms will start dropping, revealing the head, and you'll see the head sticking out. The head sticking out, tumbling or on vault, that can be some tenths. And I'll tell you too, when the head sticks out, it usually causes an arch in the lower back, which means we're not in a correct hollow position or straight position. So now you're losing tenths on that too. The hips is where you'll see that other bend. Sometimes girls getting ready to do their handstand on beam, they're nervous. They'll leave this back leg down some, and you'll see their body will be kind of more like this. They're not in the straight teeter-totter or T position, kind of bowed like that Appalachian Trail sign, it's like one of those things. So we want to keep them straight like a teeter-totter. That's going to be true not just of handstands, but going into cartwheels, going into roundoffs. Their body's got a teeter-totter like that. Back walkovers, arms are going back, back legs coming up. So we need to see that correct body position, or the lever or body line, as you'll hear us refer to. So running through kind of all the events, things to keep an eye out for. Done a lot of talking about bars. That's an easy one. 3 requirements. As you get to the higher levels, there's still cast requirements. They have to get to different heights. Like the golds, they have to cast above horizontal. If they don't hit that, they can lose a full half a point for having a missing skill. That being said, body position, when they're doing circle elements around the bar, are the legs straight? Is the body hollow? Are the toes pointed? And are they sticking their landings? Those are big things to look for on bars. Not a lot to do. Do it perfect. On vault, vault's tricky because it's just one skill. For the bronze, it's a handstand flat back. For the upper levels, it's a front handspring over the table. But they're judged multiple times. The vault is broken up into 3 parts. There's the pre-flight, which is from the board to their hands going down to the vault table or the resi mat, depending what level vault it is. There's their body position when they connect with the resi mat or the table, and then there's the post flight. So if a gymnast runs up and she reaches her hands down and pikes, instead of driving her heels up and staying in a long straight body position, she pikes down, boom, just got deducted on the pike up. If her hands hit, she's still in a pike, failure to land in a handstand position, that's another deduction. Now as her body rolls over, she's in the pike again. She got nailed for that pike in 3 different phases of her of her vault. So those are the kind of things you're going to look for. All the same body line rules are going to apply with the vault. Is her head between their arms? Are their heels coming up as her arms go down? Is her body doing this? Now, they don't have one leg on the ground because they're coming off the springboard, but it should be a straight body up and over and hit. A good vault, there'll be a little repulsion, a pop, and a land flat. If they land sliding, usually that means there's some kind of whip in the body position. Maybe they were piked up and then right as their hands hit, they straighten their body, but that created a tumbling and they land sliding on their heels instead of pop and land flat on their back. So we really want them getting a good reach, not bringing the arms down, not sticking the head out, but a straight body position, which requires a fast, hard run and really hitting that board good. On beam, you've got your dance skills, leaps and jumps, you've got your acro skills, and your dismounts. Again, on beam, what we're looking for is straight body lines with their acro skills. Is their legs straight? Is their body in the right position? Are they staying on the beam? Because that's the biggest thing that comes up on beam. You know, just stay on the beam. So that one, they're also going to be looking for arm position and a lot of those little tenths here and there. It's really easy to see a girl do a big skill for the first time, like, oh, it was an amazing beam routine. She stayed on, she had a big skill. But you can miss those little tenths here and there. We call it getting nickel and dime. Just a tenth there, 2 tenths there, 2 tenths there. Full routine, 4 or 5 requirements, those tenths add up big time. So that's a lot of things we're going to look for on beam. More than not, they have a jump requirement to have an angle in their legs. Which, you know, a leap or a hop, they're going to get up and their legs should go more than 90 degrees for that split leap. Split jump or the leap. That back leg is bent, deduction. They're going to wobble on the landing, deduction. Unchoreographed movements. This is great. You'll see it sometimes. You know, the gymnast will get on, she's so poised, and she does her mount, and she's got the choreographed hand things, and it looks all beautiful, and then reaches down both thumbs and picks that wedgie out. That's a tenth. Boom, that's out. I mean, modesty, you know, maybe it was worth it, depending on how bad the wedgie was, but we're not going to go there. Anyways, I've been told hairspray helps. I wish I knew that in junior high. I was getting wedgies left. Anyway, maybe it's not the kind of wedgie. So, unchoreographed movements like wobbles. If they're in the wrong place, they just kind of walk down the beam. They can get hit for that. There is also value for artistry, for dynamics and amplitude. If a girl's doing skills, but they're just barely getting off the ground, she does her jump, but her feet are like this, close to the ground. Judge can take a tenth for dynamics and amplitude. Just like, yeah, that wasn't... If she gets up on the beam, and this is true of floor also, and just does her 3 things and gets right off, there's no artistry there. This is called artistic gymnastics. The judge can take a couple tenths for that, depending on how boring and blah it is. If she just looks like a robot the whole time and not like she's flowing and having fun, they value girls who look like they're having fun. Big smiles. Big, pretty smiles they love. You get the cutie pies. I'm just saying, you know, not that judges give a lot of value to that, but we kind of know they do. Floor, tumbling, you know, knees and arms on the tumbling. Are they generating momentum or are they slowing down? Are they rebounding out of their tumbling skills? Ones that require it. And again, you have same things for jumps. You have for turns. Another thing easy to miss on turns is you watch the foot that's on the ground. When a gymnast turns, they need to be on the ball of that foot, and that foot, if it's a half a turn, should go 180 degrees. Sometimes that foot will go 90 degrees, and then the gymnast will keep turning, roll off to her foot, to the side of her foot, kind of off the ball to the side. She'll get hit. She will get docked tenths if that's not on the ball of her foot and her foot doesn't complete the turn. An untrained eye can miss that, but I always looking at the foot when I'm looking at turns because we want to make sure that that foot's completing the turn also. So that should be it. I think that really wraps up a lot of the major faults, what you'll see. There's other things that can come up as far as how individual skills are done, but the biggest things you're going to look for is body position. Is the body long and straight when it's supposed to be? Are the knees straight and toes pointed? Are the arms long and clean? Is the head between the arms? Is it sticking out? Does the routine seem to flow, or is it choppy? Does the gymnast look lost? Stepping off the floor, that's a tenth. That's going out of bounds. That can cost them a tenth too. Or if their routine's not on time with the music, that can be a tenth too. If they finish and the music's still going and they're just sitting there like, that happens too sometimes. So those are all things that play into it. So I hope this was helpful, and thanks for tuning in, everybody.